What I hear in your music as well, if you don't mind me continuing down that road, is hip-hop in there too.
To be honest, I don't know nothing about hip-hop. I was not inspired by hip-hop when I was young.
Before Gesaffelstein would become one of the biggest names in electronic music, first in Europe, then the US, helped in large part by his extremely memorable performance at Coachella in 2019. Before Gesaffelstein would work with artists like Kanye West and The Weeknd on some of their biggest hit songs like Black Skinhead and I Was Never There. Before Gesaffelstein would remain largely a mysterious presence on social media, having deleted his Twitter and Instagram profile years ago and only maintaining his YouTube channel, which has over 311,000 subscribers at the time of this recording. Gesaffelstein is a French DJ and electronic musician who produces industrial techno and electro music under a moniker that's meant to combine his passion for art with his fandom for science. That's right, his name is a portmanteau of the German word Gesamtkunstwerk, which means total work of art, along with the one name of the world-famous scientist Albert Einstein. Heavily influenced by early EBM acts like Nitzer Ebb and Front 242, as well as house producers like Green Velvet and Laurent Garnier, Gesaffelstein began injecting clubs in France with his sinister dose of darkness during the late 2000s. Over time, the man who would come to be known as the Dark Prince of Techno has built up a cult following that exploded in 2018. But throughout his career, Gesaffelstein's life has been shrouded in mystery. He told Mixmag, "People think I'm mysterious, but I'm not. That's just what they think. I'm just me. For me, the real mystery in electronic music is the artists who try to be cool when they aren't cool." Hey, what's poppin', guys? It's your boy Marlon Palmer back at it again with a brand new video. This one taking a look at the come up of French electronic music wizard Gesaffelstein. You guys have been begging us to do this one since my man hit the big time, so what better time to do it than now? Let me know what you guys think by following me on Instagram at @DadDoMcFly, and let's get into the story. Gesaffelstein was born Mike Levy on June 13, 1987 in the city of Lyon in the south of France. Mike has been tight-lipped when it comes to his former life before his career in music, but I was able to dig up a few interesting facts about his past, like the fact that his family was decidedly not musically inclined. They wouldn't even listen to music, like at all. The only one who did even a little was his sister, who introduced Mike to an electronic record for the first time in the early 2000s.
I'm not like a meloman. I don't play a lot of music at home, and I don't like to listen music. You know, when you play music, automatically, if you do music, you can be inspired by the music.
Yeah.
And I want to keep my brain clear to do something different.
As soon as he heard that style of music, Mike was hooked. At the age of 16, he abandoned his schooling out of boredom and decided to throw his all into a different type of education, a musical one. At a friend's house, he had his first experience with a synthesizer. The ability to modulate frequencies and all the ways you can physically manipulate audio inspired him to develop a new type of sound that needed an equally new name to pair with it. Thus, he came up with the idea for Gesaffelstein. Now, part of what attracted him to electronic music was the reaction from people he grew up to around it. Mike told Pitchfork, "It's music for farmers here. There's nothing sexy about it. So the girls are not into EDM. They're into hip hop because it's more sexy. And they can understand that. There's nothing romantic about EDM in France." Year after year, he continued to experiment with new synth sounds, and after moving to Paris in 2003, he formed a relationship with popular producer Michael Amato, aka The Hacker. Year after year, he continued to experiment with new synth sounds, and after moving to Paris in 2003, he formed a relationship with popular producer Michael Amato, aka The Hacker, who is widely regarded as one of the most prolific electro artists of the last 25 years, thanks to his work with Miss Kitten and David Coretta. When speaking with Mixmag about the relationship, Mike told them, "I had been obsessed with his sound, because for me, his music is the perfect combination of the past and the future. It was the only music I understood because everything he made was so logical for me." This pair became fast friends after Mike handed over a collection of some of his original songs. And from that point on, Michael helped mentor his new protege to hone his production style and DJing skill set. EPs like Vengeance Factory, Modern Walk, and The Operator were released in 2008 and 2009, which got Gesaffelstein's name circulating for the first time ever. For the release of that third EP, he co-founded the label named Zone alongside the Hacker. Then in 2010, Mike would get one of his biggest breaks when he signed to Tiga's record label Turbo Recordings, through which he would release his next 3 EPs. Some of his most popular tracks like Viol and OPR were released during this period, and the last one was even used in a BMW commercial, which, considering Gesaffelstein is from Europe, it's kind of a big deal. Through his relationship with Turbo, Mike hooked up with French producer Brodinski next, when Brodinski would create his own label in 2011 named Bromance. His first release would be a joint project between these two talented artists, and their single Control Movement would get radio play all around the world. By this point in his career, Gesaffelstein was beginning to experiment with remixes and teamed up with famous artists like Boys Noise, Justice, and Lana Del Rey to create a series of mesmerizing new edits. Gesaffelstein's musical growth and development was thanks in large part to Brodinski introducing him to new genres and styles. He told BBC, "I just discovered hip-hop a few years ago with Brodinski. He's a huge fan of hip-hop and he plays it all the time. I would always be like, please stop this music, and he would always say, you have to listen." Thanks to Brodinski, Gesaffelstein began to see the connection between hip-hop and electro music. In late 2013, his career would take another turn when he teamed up with Kanye West to work on tracks for the album Yeezus.
At the time we had a chance to get approached by Kanye West. We wanted to work with Gesaffelstein, and Gesaffelstein, he called me and he was like, let's go together because it's your thing, the whole rap, and I want you to be there. And so I was like, let's do it.
Still a great album, I don't care what anybody says. Working with Kanye opened up all types of doors, and from that point on, Gesaffelstein became a huge name in the music scene and dropped his debut album Aleph at the end of 2013.
After listening to this album, Gesaffelstein does sound like a very, very capable producer. The sound quality and just the richness and the crispness of the sounds on this record deserves to be praised all day.
The first single from that album was Pursuit, and it featured production by the popular duo Flora and Manu. The subsequently released music video was widely popular, amassing nearly 8 million views on YouTube. After that, Gesaffelstein embarked on a mind-boggling live show around the world that featured him performing in a setting not unlike other popular electronic duo, Daft Punk, only, you know, without the costume. But then, after his tour, he disappeared for like 5 years. He deleted his social media and only made an appearance to create the original score for a movie called Marilyn in 2015. But the man would reappear in a big way in 2018, teaming up with The Weeknd to work on the EP Dear Melancholy. His sound was now more refined and slightly more pop-focused, which helped extend his appeal to the masses while still maintaining his trademark eerie production style. Dear Melancholy was... oh, great job, Abel. Great job. By November of that year, he had signed a new deal with Columbia Records, and in March of 2019, he released his most recent album, Hyperion, which climbed all the way to number 10 on the US dance charts off of features with Pharrell and The Weeknd, as well as the popularity of his jaw-dropping performance at Coachella from a few months earlier. No longer just the king of the underground, Gesaffelstein's recent string of success has the Frenchman coming an extremely long way over the course of the last decade. From handing out his homemade CDs to people like the Hacker, all the way to being personally requested to work with Kanye West and The Weeknd. This man's story has finally come full circle. As for the rest of his story, well, I think we're gonna have to bring this video to an end here. After all, this is before they're famous. But what do you guys think of Gesaffelstein's come up? Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a recommendation or two for your favorite tracks of his while you're at it. And follow our series on Instagram at Before They're Famous if you'd like to vote on what's next. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.